early and start off pre or post level 6 getting some kills up towards this top side of the map, I think they've got a really good composition to work with.
Well, we're jumping onto Summoner's Rift once more. And you can hear Guyos.
Oh, it's been so long.
It has been far too long. We have an audience. We have a live crowd. It's so good to have the LPL back in full force once again as we head into our second series of the season and a historic matchup to boot. OMG and EDG, both with new rosters, both with new expectations, and EDG very hyped coming into this series, touted as a heavy favorite, and we'll see if they can live up to that expectation.
My eyes are instantly drifting towards that Dark Harvest on Eric. So one of the big issues for Jhin in this matchup is actually two weird runes on both sides, honestly, coming through. So usually on Misfortune, we've actually seen them start to up towards the Arcane Comet. The reason is you get a huge amount of poke with the E, and you're able to do a lot of work coming through from like the likes of Scorch and all the other runes that just provide a huge upfront damage coming through over time. Actually going towards the press the attack removes a lot of that damage, and now it actually gives a little bit of leeway towards Eric.
There we go, a bit of a 2v2 going on. Colt's going to take a bit of damage, but they're okay. They're fine on this one.
Yeah, so
you expect a little bit of scrapping.
Yeah, so Viper anyway has opted in towards the press the attack, more about getting multiple auto attacks off, which is actually a lot more difficult in this matchup. I don't know if Viper... So on Eric's side, you usually take fleet footwork because you both get the healing, fantastic, but also get the move speed to get yourself out of both the all-in lane and also the extra little bit of the slow that's coming through from Viper's E. You actually oftentimes see Boots of Swiftness rush to try and counteract this on the Jhin, but it's weird to see both sides opting completely away from what would have been standard in this matchup and just kind of changing up the dynamic that has been fairly MF favored. Now, it still will be MF favored, but it's just a weird way of playing the lane opposed to the standard that we're seeing coming through at the moment.
Yeah, to be fair, Dark Harvest Jhin has been fairly standard in a lot of matchups.
Scaling option. Yeah, it's the scaling option. It's just specifically in this all-in style and engage style. I prefer the fleet footwork because you just get so much healing and a speed up for the disengage.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see how the Dark Harvest is going to work out for him across the course of this game. And I have to say, when we look at these two compositions, there's a saying here at the LPL that generally the easier to execute composition will usually do better. It feels like it's a lot easier for EDG to succeed on their win condition. It feels simpler for them than what OMG have to try and pull off.
It'll all depend on the... Honestly, actually, a lot of this game is on when you're looking at this matchup, it is going to be a case of like, okay, get towards the 5 minute. If Wumin hasn't been forced to burn his TP at that stage, he can back, get into lane, and look towards an early gank level 6. As Aki, we said he's an aggressive jungler.
Yeah, even on the Kindred, going for a level 4 gank onto Flandre here. Flashes out to safety, though. Eric has taken a huge chunk in the bottom side as well, but no summoners used by the bot laners here. Just the summoners of Mako used, but none of them used defensively by OMG.
And this is going to hurt Eric a lot. He hasn't even opted towards Inspiration in the secondary tree, so doesn't have access towards these biscuits. He's just low now, and not having the Arcane Comet doesn't matter. You're still going to get a lot of poke damage coming through from the Misfortune, especially with the short range of Jhin, so this is not a good start for Eric. But what we wanted to see from Viper and Mako. Viper, a very strong AD carry, and when you're paired with someone with the veterancy of Mako, you expect them to be able to control a bottom lane.
See Flandre teleporting back towards this top side, and I think he's trying to bait out a bit of a fight here because JJ is hovering on the top side, going to channel the recall in the Tribe Rush, and I think he probably will complete that recall. Needs to get back towards the bottom side of the map. His wolves have just spawned, and Dragon will be coming up too. So let's talk about the Dragon here, Dagda. Who are you expecting to be the ones to put their best foot forward here and try and start that snowball?
I actually think OMG are just going to bypass Dragons completely. They are focused on topside. Eric and Code are kind of been hung out to dry here, especially when you look towards Aki already trying to get that aggression towards New, and when we look at the combo between Wumin and New. I imagine it'll be EDG trying to use the pressure that Viper and Mako have, specifically at level 6, to move over towards that Dragon. Olaf can look to just solo it out if he wants, but honestly, if you can try and base EDG, or OMG, sorry, even into a fight at this Dragon, you're in great shape.
OMG moving towards the bottom side here. Aki's on a ward though, so they won't be able to get much of anything out of the back of this plate. Aki's still committing to the bottom lane though. They really want to push this one out, so I do wonder if OMG are trying to transition into something. Mako now looking for an engage, just backs away in the end.
This is just Aki making sure that, well, actually what just happened doesn't happen, but it looks like Viper and Mako are going to push it. There was an opportunity there for Viper and Mako to freeze, but they're more interested in getting a similar reset timing off and not actually getting caught out. However, what we're seeing is with all these map movements from Aki being called towards top lane, being called towards bot lane, that CS lead is starting to open up. And this is something that we've seen really cause issues for Aki in the past, where junglers that just go, right, I don't care if you go towards my lanes, my laners are going to be fine, they're going to avoid the ganks, I'm going to farm up, I'm going to out-level you with all the CS and experience I'm getting from my camps and your camps that you're being left up, and when we get towards level 9, level 11, kind of around that 18-minute mark, that's where I'm just going to be strong.
Oh, here we go, the global pressure comes on in. Flandre forces a flash out of Wooming, but they still go for the all-in underneath the tower. Flandre will go down, New takes one more shot, but he survives! Barely, but he gets away with it. Scout with the TP towards the top side, but it is way too little and it is way too late.
And he doesn't even have a flash. He has a heal, so he's not able to follow over the wall. And well played from OMG. New. That was close, buddy, but does just manage to eke away with that. And this is what we talked about. This is you saw Woomy go for that 5-minute back. He can TP into lane, full health, full mana. He's already started to use the minion dematerializer, so he can one-shot that back line. He so quickly able to shove in these mid lane waves and gets up towards that top side with a nice destiny.
Beautifully done here, and now we do have a bit of a lead for the side of OMG. It's not a massive lead, but hey, they managed to get the first kill for themselves. They managed to get themselves the first Drake as well, which is not necessarily what we were expecting with the way these compositions look. But the play towards the top side and EDG trying to answer that top lane pressure has actually ended up giving OMG some bot side pressure as well.
Yeah, which is really surprising. Although they're trying to answer mid, but unfortunately, yeah, I mean, JJ had just cleared his bot. He'd moved towards the top side, so it wasn't like he was in a position to try and answer with a cross-map play. And it means that OMG get their cake and they eat it too. So it's overall just OMG looking a lot better than I was expecting coming into the game.
And it was delicious cake too, because Twisted Fate managed to get himself the
chocolate? Chocolate? What, are you a chocolate cake?
It was Christmas cake. It's left over. We were only in January, so there's still a spare Christmas cake on the kitchen counter, so they managed to grab themselves a slice. Icing and marzipan. Beautiful stuff, honestly.
I think that's a very UK thing.
Before we move on, I just want to quickly say that in Yorkshire, we have Christmas cake and we put cheese on it. This is not a very common thing elsewhere.
This is not a time for your Twitter thread, Bunch, all right? Look, this is not the time.
There's always time for Christmas cake with cheese. Ideally, Wensleydale is the best option, but I just want to say anyone that's still got Christmas cake left over, please, open your heart, give it a try with cheese. It's magnificent.
Or you can abuse him like everyone else has on Twitter, and that's the better option. But mid lane Wooming does get cut out.
Yeah, Wooming in a bit of trouble, but here comes Galio. It is way too late. Wooming just removed from the play. Great taunt comes out from Colt, though, to answer. EDG still on top of the play, though. Solar Flare goes wide. Aki walks away. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of EDG at the end of it all.
Yeah, everyone moving up here just to make sure that there's no pesky business going on towards Rift Arrow, but they'll all end up battling in the mid lane anyway, so Misfortune and Leona are going to be the benefactor of some of those kills. That is the 2-for-1. And now they can go back down towards this bot lane if they really like. Right now, what I'm prepared to see them probably do is send Viper down towards this bot lane while keeping Mako in position for this Rift Arrow play. Because as you can see, OMG have already started it up. And they've committed a lot of members towards this.
Yeah, they have moved everyone up towards the top side. You can see EDG have sort of done a similar thing where you've got the bot lane and both of the bot lane players moving up the mid lane, but they are way too late to contest anything. And you see immediately Mako just turns around and is like, okay, we're late to the party, time to go bot.
Yeah, if they're going to back after that play, they just need to call it quits, because you're already late on the reset. You're going to be beaten to it by Eric and Code and Aki as well, who's coming off the reset. So they should have just went down towards bot side, but that's not going to be the case. Instead, OMG end up getting that. You don't actually get the pressure that you could have used from EDG to maybe get a turret plate, but either way, all said and done, OMG are the ones that get the Rift Herald.
Fantastic start here from OMG, honestly. The gold is still even, though. The question is, where does this Rift Herald go from Aki? Because there are options available to them. It's going to be incredibly difficult to put it on the bottom side with just the complete zero priority that they have in that lane. Top lane could be an option, though.
I imagine they're actually going to probably try and get it down in this mid lane. I mean, being able to shove in an Orianna very far and then open up Woomin to go for more options is fantastic. But even, I mean, you've got a minute until this next dragon. Let's just use it to create some pressure. Force EDG into defending their mid lane turret. You still have Woomin who can babysit that Rift Herald mid and use his Destiny to join in the fight. So they've got a lot of options if they want to hold on to it.
Wooming's been caught, Shockwave comes on through, and once again, Wooming is just removed from the game. JJ is having a lot of fun on this Olaf so far.
Yeah, it's greedy pathing from Woomin. He needed to go the full way around and get to his tower, but wanted to try and just sneak through. Maybe he wouldn't get caught, maybe he would, and unfortunately it was the latter, so gives a kill over. Now you've got a very accelerated Olaf who's working up towards the Gore Drinker. A Gore Drinker early for Olaf is really damn scary if you're on the side of OMG. Plus, moving in towards the likes of the Black Cleaver and stuff after that, as you can see with the Phasian that already picked up, is going to do a heap of work for JJ in these fights.
Yeah, so far, so good for JJ. And, you know, I'm glad for JJ that he's having a good game here, because let's bear in mind that the expectation for a lot of fans was Clearlove stepping onto this roster. If JJ comes in instead of Clearlove, and then he had a really bad game to start it off, it would have been a nightmare on Weibo, let me tell you. So I'm happy for JJ that he started things off well. He's already finished his gold drinker at 12 minutes, and now he's found himself in a fight. Ragnarok not available, though. Has to flash away from this one. TP being channeled by New, I believe, as he'll enter the fray as well. Solar Flare jumped away from by New there. And the red buff, which is what we're all fighting over, is going to go the way of EDG.
However, Eric is still on this bottom side, so he does manage to push that in, get a plate for himself, and I would rather see Mako trying to react to these plays and leave Viper to try and keep himself in this bot lane. Because as we said already, Viper has a really strong matchup on this Misfortune. He's able to punish this Jhin very well. The problem is that Viper isn't in that lane very often. Off of a lot of these resets, Viper's moving to see if he needs to try and help out on plays. There seems to be a lot of calls from EDG to try and make these early invades, or at least shut down these early invades from OMG. But it does mean that Eric's starting to come back. He's starting to get some more CS. Now he's got a turret plate, and he's bypassing a lot of this early game power that Viper has.
And now you can see EDG are going to be able to move on to the Drake, and it's important to address the fact that OMG getting that first break, we are only going to have Cloud Souls today, apparently. I don't know why, but hey, the fact that... Hang on, bullet time comes across here. I just want to finish my sentence, guys. Please, let me finish my sentence. The fact that OMG got that first Drake was not like, oh, maybe OMG can snowball the Drakes instead. It was just, hey, we have an opportunity. Let's delay the win condition from EDG to just force a Drake Soul.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, EDG, they are the team that has an incredibly strong early game. When you're looking at the Viper being able to... Well, I usually prefer the Eclipse. This is where I'm, like, disagreeing with Viper the whole way around this build right now. Like, I like Arcane Comet Eclipse. Misfortune, I think you get a really strong early game as mid lane.
Yeah, Scout trying to be aggressive here, but the Herald just goes on through, charges into the tower. I think they got it... well, they got it just after tower plates have gone down about 30 seconds ago, so they don't get the extra gold for themselves, but they're going to weaken up that tower, so not ideal, but it could have been worse, let's be honest. Yeah. So, continue.
So I much prefer the Eclipse. I think you get a much stronger spike off of the Eclipse, and it just synergizes so well with how you just want raw AD on the Misfortune. Whereas when you're going towards the Gale Force, you're so far back with your MF ult, you're not really going to be in a position to try and follow up with the Gale Force. If you're caught by anyone on OMG as well right now, you're not getting out of there. It's not like you're going to be using that mobility. So I would have preferred to see the Eclipse coming through, but with the press, the attack, I can understand why when you're more focused on this auto-attacking, Gale Force does make more sense. I just personally would have liked to see the Arcane Comet and Eclipse build rather than what Viper's got.
I think that when he went for the press the attack, that's the signal of like, hey, I'm going crit MF. I'm going for this more classic AD carry style MF as opposed to the lethality MF that has been really dominant during preseason. Here we go. Mako wants to get some vision, and he's gonna be all right. I was really expecting them to try and commit to that. I feel like that was a kill opportunity. Woomin gonna teleport up as well, but continuing to not do... I feel like there's a lot happening without anything happening here, Dagda.
Yeah, I think OMG are kind of jumping forward a bit too quickly here. There was no need for Woomin to go for that ult, unless they were maybe worried about Engage coming through, but New was totally fine in that top lane. And now Viper going forward.
He way overextended to try and get that extra minion there. Bullet time comes through. Zenith Blade dodge, though. Nicely done there. Woomin gets a stun onto the enemy Leona, but not quite do much with it. And once again, we have a fight that just diffuses itself.
Yeah, everyone able to back away. Well, I say back away. Apparently OMG don't want to back away. This is what we wanted in Series 1.
Yeah, they're just tiptoeing around, not actually fighting, just toying with the idea of fighting. Herald is still up right now. Flandre's pushing the entire time.
Look at mid. Mid as well. Like, EDG are just like, all right, you've committed 5 members top for God only knows why. So we'll just take your bot lane turret. We'll take the mid lane turret. We're still in a position to contest Rift Herald. Where have we gone wrong here?
It's looking pretty fantastic for them. Flandre does have teleport if he needs it. Doesn't look like EDG are actually... Oh no, his hookshot warshot gets interrupted. And he's taken down. That is the power of the Gale Force right there. Viper dashes on forwards. Aki will grab the Herald. It looks like he'll get away with it as well. But it'll be at the cost of this mid lane tower, I expect.
Exactly. You've got mid lane priority here for EDG. They didn't decide to contest it, but with the health bar there and the numbers advantage here for EDG, they're going to be able to take that. So now for OMG, this split push scenario becomes a lot more difficult to manage. As a composition that wants to go for pick or 1-3-1, you definitely want to be in the lead because it gives you the ability to shove out a wave, create that numbers advantage that then you can port in with Twisted Fate or with Camille. When you're behind like this, it becomes a lot more easy for EDG to dictate the pace of the game, find the team fights they want, give Flandre backline access, and set up for these massive wombo combo-esque fights with all of their carries throwing everything at it.
Yeah, I mean, they have one of the kind of classic wombo combos, right? Where you've got the Leona solar flare goes in, you've got the shockwave from Orianna, the bullet time over the top of it. If they had a Jarvan jungle, then it would be like creme de la creme classic wombo combo. But yeah, it's a phenomenal team fight that EDG have built for themselves. If they can get those front-to-back fights, though, that's the big thing is the style that OMG have built for themselves is dramatically different. So whether or not EDG actually ever get that style of fight is a different conversation.
I mean, if OMG are going to contest River like this, they're certainly going to.
Well, they're going on to Mako to start this one off. Mako is damn tanky. Bullet time does so much work. Aki trying to get away with his life. He's got new for reinforcements here as the curtain call comes out, and Eric does manage to hit the third, hits the fourth shot, and that's going to be Wooming to grab a kill. Aki jumps over the wall, keep himself alive as Cold goes down, and this is looking great for EDG. Wooming completely out of mana and alone in the river. He goes down as a double goes the way of Viper, and in his debut game in the LPL, Viper's already got a hat trick.
I mean, this is looking so good from EDG. They set themselves up perfectly. OMG did not need to go in and take that fight. What I would have preferred to see OMG do is play it through their side lanes. Use the opportunity where EDG are committing resources to Dragon to push in top, push in bot, see if they can get some towers back in their favor, and create these long lanes that their composition can use. Instead, they go up against a team fighting team with a team that just doesn't fight as well, and this is the result. Beautiful ult here from Viper across 3 members. Eric is caught with the entirety of it. His health bar is gone, and then it's just a case of chasing down OMG's split up fight.
And it was at this point where it's like, okay, you get the kill onto Mako, now just run. Everyone disengage ASAP, but Wooming goes in as well. It's like, hang on, dude. You've already lost the fight. You lost the fight at the bullet time about 10 minutes ago. Give up. Just move on. Accept that they've got the drain.
And he has no mana either. Like, when he gets in there, it's just like, I either pull this gold card, which wins us the fight, or I pull a blue card that can actually throw a Q. Like, that was where we were at. And he pulls the gold card, it didn't win the fight. And this is actually something that new Twisted Fate, I'm going to say, struggles with. Because Twisted Fate builds the Rocket Belt, he oftentimes ends up struggling with mana in a lot of situations, because when you look at like the Rod of Ages, you've got a heap of mana pool to just pull anything you want from. But when you go towards the Rocket Belt, you're not getting that big increase of mana. So this is something that you have to be very careful with the new Twisted Fate, is that you're not running out of mana before these fights really begin.
Over a trap there. It looks like Baron is at least the call for control right here for EDG, as they have set up complete and utter vision control. They're even going to grab themselves the enemy blue buff as well. As the longer this goes on, the less control of the map it feels like OMG have. They're almost 5,000 gold down now at this point, or I guess it's close to 4,000, but there's still a pretty tremendous lead at 21 minutes. EDG control the mid lane completely, and it looks like they might try and collapse onto Nu, who's pushed pretty far in the bottom side.
I think they're more so just trying to get full control of these rivers. I mean, get the map as dark as possible for OMG, like push in this mid lane, move in towards this top side, see if you can clear out some of the control wards that have been placed by OMG. But especially when Baron is up on the cards, if you're able to draw OMG into these team fights, get out some of the key ultimates and TPs from OMG, closing out this game becomes a lot easier for you.
You can see both top laners now on the 2 items as well. And bear in mind, this is not a tanky Gragas. This is not like, you know, there's been multiple Gragases over the years, and it's usually been in jungle most recently. He has a Night Harvester. He does a lot of damage. Watch out for Flandre in this fight. In he goes. Not going to go for the explosive cast just yet to try and start things off. You see Viper moving in to try and get mid priority before potential Baron. I'm surprised that we're all dancing around Baron this early on.
I agree with EDG in trying to dance around here, because the closer everyone is, the easier it is for, you know, a cast to come through from Flandre, an ultimate from Mako to start off this fight. Whereas for OMG, they have three TPs essentially, with Woomin having his Destiny available. They've got Cold as well, who's got his Galio ult available. So even if they really want to, he can help threaten the side lane. Like, there is a lot here for OMG where wave management should be their goal right now, and instead they're being baited in by EDG to these fights and drawn towards these objectives.
Trying to make sure that it's not happening, but vision control is not perfect right now for EDG, so there's always been a ward or two around enough from OMG that they don't actually have to worry about the Baron just going down. Nu is off to the side here as Aki trying to challenge JJ and Mako, and JJ and Mako, good respect here, realizing that there must be teammates nearby for him to play so aggressive. And now defense of the mid lane as OMG have grouped up, dragging up in 40 seconds here. EDG do not want OMG to be able to control this.
And this is the thing, EDG are very capable of taking back this space. You got Mako, who can tank up a lot of what OMG wants to do, same when you look at JJ and the Gore Drinker. So you can, the second EDG poke their nose into River, OMG bluff gets called, they back out, and now you're actually on the wrong side of this. OMG, they've been chased, they've been separated, and EDG should get this dragon easy as you like.
And another wave shoved under a tower here on the top side, as Flandre actually doing a very good job on this Gragas in the sort of split push is the wrong word, but in this, like, just shove out the side lane, rotate to the team, go back to the side lane, rotate to the team. He's doing an excellent job on this Gragas to show that threat without ever mispositioning, without ever going too far.
And that's been Flandre's strength, is his ability to read the map, understand, hey, I need to get control of this wave so that then in a few minutes we can make this play happen. Or I can be on the opposite side of the map where I can TP to this exact ward and really set up the team fight as well as you like. Like, this is the conductor that is Flandre working well for EDG. And you can see the result. Like, EDG have never felt at any point in time like they're uncomfortable or they don't know how to broach a situation. They've been very methodically winning out this game.
Ooh. That's a lot of damage coming out from this Olaf, but when Ragnarok, he gets away, has to flash as well, Wooming over the wall. Solar Flare actually committed there by Mako. But one more auto should finish the tower in the mid lane. No, they can't actually get close enough. It's a 30 HP, 3-0. A stiff breeze and knock that one over, but it's going to be remaining at least for now. That's not a real tower though, Dagda. That you cannot be confident and
No.
use that defensively. It does not exist.
Yeah, it's just gold that's waiting to go into the pockets of OMG, but it will stand for the moment, which means that gold is still outstanding. However, EDG, moving up here, Scout is going to be the benefactor of this top wave, and I like the JJ supporting it as Aki.
Aki has been caught out and does not have the health for this fight. JJ going to be able to stay inside of the Lamb's Respite, but taken down in the end by Eric, sniped down by the rest of the squad. Aki ended up going down to the burn in the end, and this is all going the way of EDG. Viper surviving, good bit of lifesteal comes out, and Nu can't finish the kill off. And what looked like an overextension turns into a couple of kills for EDG.
There was a lot of members of EDG in the area, though. I mean, we already had Viper who was there. Mako was in position as well, because they are heavily focused on this Baron area. And the TP comes in from Flandre. Nice job from JJ to turn that around, because honestly, a lot of the carries were very safe on EDG's side. Scout was positioned underneath his turret, and he's able to get a big shockwave into the bullet time from Viper. And although you had Nu try to threaten onto the AD carry, Viper does a good job of staying alive and getting the support of his team.
Yeah, really, really well played by Viper. I've been impressed by Viper so far. And going for the GA third item here, when you look at the difference between the AD carries, now granted, Eric is just recalling, so we'll see what he gets, but there are 3 completed items for Viper at this point.
Yeah, and look, you can see his mindset here is like, look, all I need to do is get this bullet time off. We got the shockwave from Scout. Flandre coming in from underneath the turret as well. OMG are completely separated, and it's unfortunate for OMG. These picks are not working out for them, but they've got to realize when they press that destiny where the members of EDG are, and to see these overcommitments consistently, even with the knowledge as to where EDG are, it just seems like very big mistakes and not being able to play out the composition to what its strengths are.
I have to say that was really well played by Viper as well. Had the stopwatch, uses it as the Hextech ultimatum is about to complete, so it does go on cooldown, but doesn't get the CC off, and then obviously just tries to burst out Nu and survives the fight for himself. Viper managed to find a pick here onto Aki. Wooming is out of position as well, and we're getting to the point in the game now where OMG are starting to flounder. They're starting to get themselves out of position, get caught out, and when you fall behind against a team like EDG, especially with a composition like this that can just confidently 5v5 you, you don't get to miss position like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is EDG putting a slow, methodical stranglehold on OMG. And it's really difficult for OMG to come back, especially when EDG, as we said, are dictating where we're going, when we're going there. OMG are forced to respond, and in a composition where your team fighting is worse and you're not finding those moments or opportunities to get picks, it becomes just slow bleed that we're seeing EDG take advantage of.
Well, Drake's up next, and EDG already have 3 for themselves. They're a minute away. Let's take another look, because Aki, I mean, he just walked in and got one shot. I don't know what else to say. Wooming then teleports into the entire squad of EDG. He could see them. He's Twisted Fate. I don't know why he teleported there. I have no explanation for that play, Doctor.
Look, your guess is as good as mine. I think this is proof in the pudding of a lot of what OMG's criticisms were laid at. There's not someone who's really confident in shot calling. Cole has been on this roster for quite a while, but he hasn't really stepped up to be the voice that this team needs, or at least the voice that OMG need to rally around. And you've got a lot of these members that are coming in where Woomin had played on Rogue Warriors, but was second to Ruby, had some good games, but certainly needed to be directed by the team. And Eric as well, unfortunately. This hasn't been a bad game for Eric. It's just that he hasn't really had the opportunity to play the style that is needed for Jin in this competition.
All right, well, Wooming now on split push duty, apparently. He's up in the top side. He is very far pushed in the meantime. EDG are like, oh, you want to take a tier 2 in the top lane? We'll trade it for your bot in him. I don't think this is a trade that you want. They've got Baron to work with. This is incredibly difficult for OMG to do anything about. And now a TP comes on through Landre, or it might even be Scout. I'm not even sure. Viper jump in on forwards, actually use his Gale Force there just to try and force the fight onto Eric. The 4 shots go through, but Mako is more than happy to tank it. EDG can do whatever they want on the map right now. There is nothing OMG can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, they got the Cloud Soul, which, from JJ's perspective, is absolutely fantastic. Move speed with my Ragnarok, thank you very much. And EDG, TP in, they get bot lane turret, they get the they're going to be able to get the inhibitor if they want to in a bit of time, but they're just looking to use this Baron buff and crack down all the remaining structures of OMG.
Well, they already got the bot inhib tower. Now they've got the mid inhib tower as well. They should be able to turn this into a double inhib. Or maybe just end the game. They're just going to knock Nu into the middle of the team fight. We'll survive for now, but the bullet time just shreds OMG. That is going to be that. EDG comfortably win the fight for themselves. They'll be able to clear these inhibs. They've just got to wait for the wave to arrive. And with Baron buff on top of them, they can easily close this one out.
And it was a comfortable game. There was never a point in time where EDG felt like they were really threatened. JJ did a fantastic job of controlling the early game and continuing that in towards the end.
Well, EDG looking like EDG, right? Slow, methodical, calculated. A nice, comfortable win, as you worded it, coming out for EDG. 1-0 now over OMG. And I have to say, when it came to power rankings, when it came to expectations for these two squads, the expectation was that EDG were the favorites coming in. I didn't quite expect it to look this stark, though, because this wasn't like we're having a lot of team fights and EDG's just pulling out ahead. It was like EDG never gave OMG a fair fight, you know?